Okay, so oh, my old iPad has a problem, so I switched to a new iPad. Are you guys hearing me well? Clearly?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Yeah, so we're just gonna cover the wrong questions in homework. Okay, so we start with 8.1.1. So Emma, I asked you to to go back to your homework and correct some wrong questions, and I didn't see you do it. So, but I think you should be able to do this well. Okay, so let's have a look. So in this question, we're gonna convert percentages into fractions or integers or mixed numbers. So again, percentage is like over 100, right? So for any question here, every question here, you can just do say 37 over 100, 250 over 100, and simplify. Okay, and if you wanna express it in decimals, here's not decimals, right? Here are fractions. So if you wanna express them in fractions, you just change this into over 100. If you wanna express them in terms of decimals, then divided by 100 is basically just move the decimal point 2 times, right? Okay, so Emma, what is B? I think B you got it wrong. Okay, I'm gonna do a case for you. Okay, so for B, you do 80 and percentage, you change it to over 100. Okay, and then you just simplify. So 0 cancel out, you divide by 10, and 8 over 10, you divide by 2. This is 4. This is 5. So 4 over 5. Okay, I think you figure it out. You just haven't correct your homework. Okay, make sense to you? So let's just go quickly. What about D? How do you change this into a fraction?
Negative 25 over 100.
Yep. Yes. And then you simplify this negative one quarter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 25 to 100, that's a quarter. Yeah. What about this?
Negative 200 over 100.
And you simplify, you've got what?
Negative 1.
So 200 over 100.
Negative 2 over 1.
Yeah, just negative 2 over 1. And for over 1, you don't have to write it, right? You just say negative 2, right? So basically just negative 200 divided by 100. So it's just negative 2. Or negative 2 over 1, negative 2 divided by 1, right? Just negative 2. Make sense? Okay. So we go over here. Change these numbers into percents. We have, okay, so Emma, you have C. So changing fractions into percents, what we do is generally we try to change the fraction, like change the denominator into 100, right? So here, for any fraction, let's say we use A. So for this fraction, you want to change it. You want to change the denominator into 100, and to do that, you want to basically time by 2, right? So time both top and bottom by 2, and you get 66 over 100, and that is 66%. Okay. So for question C, yeah, Emma got this one wrong. Let's do it again. So first, we're gonna change it. So this is a mixed number, right? So we're gonna first change the mixed number into just an improper fraction. Improper fraction 中文是假分数啊，先把这个带分数换为假分数 ，OK 吧？变成一整个那个分数，会变吧？还记得吧？
13 over 4.
Yeah, 13 over 4. And how do we change the denominator into 100?
Time by 25.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so 13 times 25, whatever. I don't know what it is. I think it's 250, 325, right? 325, and then percent. Okay, so Emma, you see, if we do it, and also, yeah, and also Jerry, Albert, If you do it in this way, of course you can do it, but you have to do 13 times 25 in the end, right? But we can see that we can actually change mixed number into percentage directly, because if you have a 3 here, 3 means 300%, right? For any integer, 1 is 100%, 2 is 200%, 3 is 300%, 4 is 400%, etc., right? Make sense? So here, this 3 translates into 300, and a 1/4 is just, well, 25 out of 100. 25 out of 100 is a quarter, so 325%. So, or in other words, it's 300 plus the 25%. Okay, so Emma, does that make sense? 对于代分数来说，这个整数可以直接变成几百嘛，对吧？然后你把后面也变就可以了。Okay, and by the way, 1/4 is 25. It's something you guys should remember. Okay, anyway, because for coins, you guys remember for coins we have a so-called a quarter. A quarter is 25 cents, right? A quarter of a dollar is 25 cents. A dollar is 100 cents. It's very easy to remember. Okay, good. And then G. So G, we have Jerry and Emma. Okay, so again, for this one, we have to figure out a way to change the denominator into 100. Okay, so if we want to change 7 into 100, what should we multiply it with?
2.
2. But 7 times 2 is only 14, right? You want to change it to 100. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
You want to change. Wait, Jerry, any idea? How do you change? Like, what number should you multiply to 7 so that it becomes 100? Think about a fraction, because 7 is not a multiple of, it's not a factor of 100, right?
Yes.
So 7 times what is 100? 7 times what is 100? How about this, Emma, Jerry? What if I say 7 times what? No, for this unknown number is supposed to be x, right? 7x is 100. What is x? You divide by 7, right? So 100 over 7. Make sense? Right? It's not hard. So to figure out this, 7 times what number is 100? You can always first divide it by 7 so that it cancels out, right? And then you time by 100. Make sense? From any number to the other number, you can always do this. So if I say 6 times one number is 95, then you first divide it by 6, so they cancel out, and time by 95. This is not hard, right? Okay, you can always just follow this. Another way is always to get, say, 6x equals to 95. You divide it by 6, just 95 over 6. Okay, make sense, Emma, Jerry? Right? So what we should multiply here is 100 over 7. For this question is a little bit tricky because the denominator is 7, right? I'm gonna put it here. Okay, so again, we want to change this into something over 100. So what we're gonna do is first we're gonna see 7 times, well, 100 over 7 is 100. Cancel out, right? So by the way, A, if you want to go from a number A to B by multiplication, then you can always first divide it by A itself so that it cancels out, and then you time by B, right? Okay, from any number to another number, you first divide it by itself, you get 1, and you time by the new number. And you can always get from one number to another, okay? So for this one, we're gonna time by 100 over 7. So we time by 100 over 7 on the bottom, you see? So on the top, we should time by the same number, right? Make sense? What do we get? We get 200 over 7. So 200 over 7. And then on the bottom, we have 100. So that means we just have a percent here. Does that make sense? This part becomes 100. And over 100 becomes this percentage. Okay, and that's it. If you want, you can change it. Can change this part into a mixed number, and that would be so 2. So 14, 60, 68, right? 56, and that's 4 and 7. Okay, so both are acceptable. You can do this or this. Okay, Teriyama, makes sense? Using fraction here is a lot easier than decimals. So if you know, another way is to get decimals, but I remember Jerry's homework, you've got decimals. That's fine as well, but you actually wrote down the percentage for 1/7. And remember your homework is like 1/4 something. That's 1/7, okay? So 2/7, that's 2 divided by 7, right? 2 divided by 7. In terms of decimal, that's 285714, okay? 2/7 is 0.285714. Repeat it. Okay, so here you could also say 28.5714 repeated cycle, okay, and then percent. Using fractions is a lot simpler. Okay, Jerry, make sense? Okay, good. And Albert. So Albert, you have F. I see that you still haven't figured it out. Okay, so Albert, any idea now?
Over 100, like negative 192.5 over 100.
Okay, so if you're just gonna get over 100, can you just put it over 100 there? My question is, this is a number, negative 192.5, right? If you just divide it by 100, just all of a sudden you don't do anything else, just divide it by 100, then you are changing its original value, right? For example, we all know that 2 is 200%, correct? But if you do whatever you have done here, then basically if I ask you to convert 2 into a percentage, you just divide by 100, and that means you only have 2%. Right? Okay. So the reason, so yes, we do want to get over 100 here, but to divide it by 100 and to not change its original value, we'll have to do something else. Okay, so I'm gonna again let's use 2 as an example. How do we change 2 to percentage? We all know it's 200%, but why? Well, 200% is 200 divided by 100. That's why. But what is the other way to do it? So we want to get it, get over 100, right? To get over 100 here. And then if you divide it by 100, you should multiply it by 100 as well. So time by 100. See if that makes sense. The number you had is 2. And then you first time by 100 and you divide it by 100 so that it cancel out. So in the end, you just have 2. So you haven't changed the value of 2, right? And now you will see that it's 200 over 100. So 200 is a number here. Over 100 becomes percentage. Okay, always remember you have to time by 100 and divide by 100. So to convert anything, if it is just like a decimal or integer, if you want to convert it into a percentage, you're going to first time it by 100 and then divide it by 100. Okay, Albert, does that make sense now? Now you see 100 can be canceled, so you just have the original value. It was unchanged, right? You don't want to change the original number. Okay, so that's one way to explain it. Another way to explain it is that we basically use this whatever we have done here. Okay, we're gonna change our denominator into 100. So what is the denominator for this integer, for this decimal? Any decimal, any number?
Over 1.
It's over 1, right? Good. So it's over 1. You want to change this one into 100. So you time by 100. And then on the top, you time by 100. See, make sense? Okay, so there are two ways to understand this. If you don't see a denominator, then the denominator is by default 1, right? So if you want to change it to a percentage, you time by 100 on the bottom, you time the top by 100. That's one way. Another way just to say you can time by 100 divided by 100, okay? They cancel out. You haven't changed the number. And now we can change it into the percentage. So Albert, what is the final answer then?
19250%.
Yes, negative 19250%. Very good. Okay. Yeah. So for decimal, the easiest way to do, because we know we're gonna time by 100 and divide by 100, right? Divided by 100 translates into the percentage, the symbol, correct? And for time by 100, you're just gonna move the decimal point to the right twice. So the easiest way to do here, actually, let's write out another example. If you want to change this into a percentage, you just need to move this twice. Negative 18756%. Done. Okay. And integer 2, change into percentage. You mark the decimal is here, right? And you move it twice. 1, 2, put down the zeros. So 200 decimal point here is at the end, so you don't need to write it down, percent. Okay, because every time when you need to get a number into a percentage, you're gonna time by 100, and then just write down percentage symbol. One last example, let's say 0.000561. Okay, a bunch of zeros. To change this into a percentage, you move it twice. That's it. Okay, move it twice. Oh my god. The decimal point is here, so it just becomes 0.0561%. Because here is where your decimal point is. So the first two zeros you don't have to write down. You don't have to write down 0.0, right? You just need to write down 0.0561. Okay, good. Make sense? Yeah. So for fractions, you have to change the number into 100. For decimals, integers, just move the decimal point to the right twice. Very simple. Okay. And then, okay, next question. Any question for now? Before we move on? Okay, good. So 8.1.3, we have 3 questions for Jerry. Okay. So any percentage of a number is just a wording. Okay. Whenever you see a fraction or a percentage of a number, you just time them. Okay, Jerry, right? You just time them. And when you time them, you change this percentage into over 100 and it just simplify.
3/10 times 200 then.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yes. So the questions you've got wrong is D. Let's have a look at D. Maybe you can do it now, I think. How do you do D?
So it would be negative 80 or negative 8/10. Negative 8/10 times 35/1.
Yeah.
And then
35/1, just write down 35. That's fine. And just cancel out with the bottom, right?
yes.
Good. Carry on.
So
We simplify.
so then it'd be negative 4/5.
So 4/5, and then
now 35 and 5.
Good.
They can both be divided by 5. So it'd be 4 times 7.
Yeah. So the answer is
28.
yeah, negative 28. You see? Okay, good. So you have another one which is F. I believe we can do it now.
Just negative 617.
Yeah, because this is just -1. Good. Very nice. What about so H? Both you and Emma got it wrong. So maybe Emma, Yes, Jerry has done too. This one, both of you got one.
Wait, I mean Emma or me?
Maybe Emma. Emma, could you do it?
Maybe.
Let's see where you guys have got wrong. Okay, so also Jerry, please pay attention. This is 1/5 percent. So if you write
Wait.
it as a
Is that 400 or something?
400. Okay, so say that you don't have this percentage. 1/5 of 2000 is 400. And remember, it was like you guys have the same thing. So 1/5 times 2000, it is indeed 400, right? But it's 1/5 percent. So for percent, you have to put back, over 100. This percentage is over 100, right? So you have to divide it by 100 more, which gives you 4. Okay, that makes sense?
Yeah.
The basic percentage just means divided by 100. In other words, you can also divide by 100 first, which is 20, and then time by 1/5, which is 4. Okay? Because if you do 1%, 1% just means divided by 100. So 2000 will become 20, and then times 1/5. And that also gives you 4. Okay, Jerry, that makes sense to you? I remember, the reason why I got it wrong was also that because there was a fraction here, it kind of confuses you guys. So both of you didn't divide by 100. Okay. But anyway, I want to write the process down in our notes. So this is 1/5% times 2000. So what we can do here is 1/5. If you say, remember, for any number percent, it's just going to be that number over 100, right? But if you write down 1/5 over 100, it's kind of awkward. So I believe the better way to do it, percentage just means divided by 100. So we just write down 1 over 100. Okay? And then we times 2000. And that way we cancel out 2 zeros, 5 and 20 is 4. The answer is 4. Okay, but anyway, if you are familiar with 1/5 over 100, that's fine as well. Okay, so you can write down 1/5 over, let's just make it clear, big over 100 times 2000. This is the same as this. Okay, again, you cancel out the 2 zeros, right? So it becomes 1/5 times 20, and you cancel out the rest is 4. So here you have basically, so say that this is 3, you see, it's just 3 over 100 times 2000. You cancel out the denominator with 2000 first, right? So it doesn't really matter if the numerator is a fraction. If the numerator is a fraction, that's fine. We're just gonna first cancel out here, and then we cancel out the rest. Okay? So Jerry, makes sense? But I think this way is the best. Just divide by 100, okay? Okay, good. Then we have 8.1.4. Okay, so we have B, C for Jerry. Okay, anyway, so in 8.1.4, we're gonna do this type of question of what percent is what number of the other number. I'm gonna do an example first. This is just like an inverse operation of 8.1.3, right? You just do the other way. So what percent is 20 of 80? So for what percent, you can always suppose it to be X or X percent. It doesn't really matter because even if you suppose it to be X, you can convert it into a percentage later. Okay, or you can suppose it to be X percent. That way you don't have to convert. But both, are basically the same. So whatever, let's just say X percent, okay? So X percent, what percent is 20 of 80? So that means you're gonna time X percent with 80 to get 20. Does that make sense? Because what the question wants here is that what percent of 80 is 20, right? Like here, we know that percentage of a number, you multiply them, right? These kind of questions, they're just asking what percent of this number is 20, is the first number. Okay, so what we do is, well, we just do x percent times 80 equals 20 and solve for x. Okay, so Jerry, does that make sense to you guys? And also Albert? I believe for Albert, I believe for all of you guys, the reason why you've got wrong is that maybe you didn't really understand what it is asking for. Okay, it's just asking for what percent of the last number is the first number. Okay, so we suppose x and then solve for equations. So say for question A, x percent times 80. Question A, everyone got it right, but x percent times 80 is 20. It's just x over 100, right? Times 80 is 20. You solve for it. So cancel out 0. And then this is 4, this is 5. So seeing a fraction will time by 5, right? So x is 20 times 5. And then there's a 4, so divided by 4. And eventually you cancel out again. That's 25. So we can get 25%. Okay? Hope that makes sense. Let's do some questions you guys have problem with. So question B, Jerry have a problem, got this one wrong. So I'm not sure if you fully understood what I showed there. So let's do it together, okay? So for what percent, I'm gonna lead you. This is just supposed to be x percent. What is the equation here? It's asking what percent of 30 is negative 60. Okay, sorry. Sorry. I think it's asking what percent of the first number is the second number. Yeah. The wording, yeah, what percent of 30 is negative 60. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's just asking what percent of the first number is the second number. Sorry, I explained it wrong. I got confused here. So actually this one is asking what percent of 20 is 80. So we should do x percent times 20 equals 80 rather than the other way around. Okay? Because it's a percent. Oh, question A and question B has different wording. Okay, got it. Question A is what percent is 20 of 80, right? So they're different. Okay, but yeah, I'm not sure if the wording here is confusing to Jerry because you speak English pretty well, right? Does it confuse you? Is a number of a number or of a number is a number? If you see what percent of a number, that means you're gonna multiply them, right? A percent of a number, you're gonna multiply them. So here for B, you actually need to multiply x percent with 30 to get negative 60. But for A, it's asking what percent is 20 of 80. So in other words, you can switch the order here. 20 is what percent of 80, right? It's actually saying 20 is what percent of 80. Okay, so Albert, I'm not sure if you have problem here. If you have, let me know. Okay, good. So Emma, 这个英文嘛，我就想给你解释一下。你看这边有两种问法，我估计这是你为什么做错了一些题，对吧？它有些题是什么 of 什么 is 什么，一个是什么 is 什么 of 什么。OK， 那你想一个 percent of a number， 那肯定就是设 x 相乘等于后面这个数就完事了，对吧？但是如果是上面这个问题的话，我刚看你点头搞明白了，对吧？就是问的是，比如说 1/2 is what percent of 5。因为其实英文中啊，我顺便跟你讲一下，因为 Albert 跟 Jerry 的英文没问题啊。英文中呢，你问问题的时候，其实就是把缺失的那个部分换成 what， 换成 when， 换成 where， 换成这个 wh 开头的单词，然后把它们提前了。比如说你在哪儿啊 ？You are where？ 我们这么说对吧 ？You are where 嘛？比如说 You are here， 你在这儿，你在哪儿啊 ？You are where？ 然后把 where 往前一扔 ，Where are you？ 就这么问的。就像这里呢，如果我想问5的多少 percent 是1/2啊？那我就问 What percent of 5 is 1/2， right？ 然后把这个 is 呢提前， 因为 is 和 are 你看都要提前的嘛 ，what are what is， 明白吧？这是一个英文的语法而已啊。或者你也可以问说 one half is what percent of five， 但这样的话就显得很中式嘛。真正的英文就是你要把它提前，明白吧？还有包括说我说 you are Emma， 然后假设我不知道你是谁 ，you are who， 再一换 who are you 嘛 ，OK 吧？把它一提前就完事儿了。所以这个把这个英文把它读明白。Okay, so they have different wordings. Yeah. I thought I was confused. Okay, here. So, Jerry, let's give it a try. What percent of this is that? What is the equation?
X% times 30 is -60.
Good. Then how do you solve for x? Just solve x as we have learned in chapter 5. And if you have trouble with percentage, always just convert into over 100, okay? So just do x over 100 times
X
30.
over 100 times 30 equals -60.
And it's solve for x.
We can divide 30 on both sides.
Good. Very
So
nice.
it'd be x over 100 equals -2, I think.
Yes.
Now we can multiply both sides by 100, so it's gonna be x equals -200.
Exactly.
So
Very
x is 200.
Yeah, x is -200, so the answer is -200%, right?
Yeah.
It should make sense because to go from 30 to 60, you're actually just doubling, right? So it's 200%, but there's a negative, so -200%, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, good, very nice. C, Emma, one for you. Okay, Emma, again, we're supposed to be x%, okay? And would you give me an equation? What percent of a number is a number? Emma, 这个等式应该怎么列啊？
X times 17
对
equal 51.
Yeah, x%. OK，因为我们设的是 x% 啊。这个你怎么设呢？就是你可以只设一个 x，不要 percent。那最后的结果呢，你就要把它记得变回成 percent。如果你直接设 x% 的呢，答案就直接出来了嘛，对吧？The times 17 equals to 51，然后怎么做？
X% over 100 times 17 equal 51.
不是 x% over 100，就是直接 x over 100。
哦，yeah.
你 percent 直接变 over 100，对吧？OK, good。这个17跟51是不是有个关系啊？
Equal to 17 over 51.
51 over 17, right? Divided by 17. 那17跟51应该有个什么关系？几倍啊？
3倍。
3倍。这道题是，其实你列完试的时候，应该马上能看出来17、51啊，差3倍，对吧？刚好是除了，你就等于3了 ，OK？ 那最后 x 怎么写
3%。
300，还有个100呢，对吧？
哦呀。
就把这个100乘过去啊，变成300 ，OK？ 这就是 300%。300% 是不是 make sense 啊？因为17乘以3是51嘛，因为这里是 of。这个 of 就表示17你要乘以3，所以这个 1% 就应该是3就是300%，对吧 ？OK， 没问题吧 ？So Jerry, that makes sense to you too? Okay. All right, and then we have next question for Albert. This Okay, so Albert, in this question, your equation also, I believe, is wrong because you misunderstood the question. Okay, it says what percent is 1/2 of 5? So how would you set up an equation?
Like x% equals half times 5.
Yeah, that works too. Okay. Or you could say x% times
5.
is 1/2 of 5. Okay, I think you can only write x% times 5 is 1/2. X% times 5 is 1/2. Not the other way around. Okay, I got what you meant here. So Albert, this is not asking what percent is this number. Like you cannot treat this as a number and then ask what percent is it. It's not what it's asking for. Okay. Because if you time 1/2 with 5, that's you are seeing this part as a group sort of, right? And you're converting it to a percent. But it's actually asking what percent of 5 is 1/2. Okay. Yeah. You are basically just bringing this is part to the front. Okay. Yeah. So we actually do this, and then how do we get in? How do we solve for x?
5x over 100 equals half.
Good.
And then we multiply by 100, which gives 50 equals 5x.
50 equals to what? 5x. Yeah, 50 equals to 5x. Okay, yeah. And x is
10.
10%. Yeah. So the answer, if you suppose something like this, for the answer, you have to write down 10%. The answer is asking for a percent, okay? Okay, so I see your confusion. Okay, I didn't really, I haven't really thought about that. Okay, 很好啊。OK，我再解释一下，刚刚就是 Emma，刚刚 Albert 一开始他做的那个 x% 等于1/2乘5啊，他是把这个1/2 of 5给理解为一块了，然后他把这个道题理解为了 what percent is 1/2 of 5。Okay, this is not how you understand this question. Okay, it's actually asking what percent of 5 is 1/2. Okay, it's just that in English grammar, whenever you have like is and something like that, you have to bring it forward. Like we don't actually say who you are, we say who are you, right? So you're gonna bring the are or is part, forward so that it just follows the what part. Okay, it's just English grammar. Okay, Albert, make sense? Yeah. Yeah. And also for previous questions, after we solve for x, for answer, you have to write down 300%. Okay, don't just stop here, right? For the first question, you have to write down -200%. So if this is your school, you do this, you solve for x, and for answer, you have to include the percentage symbol. Okay, and then next question is C. D, E, E. Okay, we have E. This one, Jerry. Okay. What percent is 5/6 is 2/3? What do you think? So x% times what is what?
Times 2/3. No, times 5/6 is 2/3.
Yes, very nice. Yeah, I think you'll figure out the wording here. Yeah.
And
You've got wrong. You see you've got B, C, D wrong. B, C, E wrong. For all three questions, they have the same format. What percent of a number is a number? So it seems like your mistake is consistent, but now I think you've understood. Okay, very nice. Okay, continue, please. How do you solve for X?
so in this case, X% can be X over 100
Mhm.
times 5/6 equals 2/3.
Okay.
And now we can first times both sides by 100.
Okay. Over here, basically, right?
We can also times both sides by 6.
Very nice. Yes.
And then finally we can divide both sides by 5.
Good. Yes. I'm gonna just write down in a single step. Yeah.
And then yeah, that's X. Now we simplify.
Before
So
by 5, go ahead. We can first simplify this part.
so it'd be 2/3 times 600.
Yep.
And in 2/3 by 600, we can cancel out we can cancel out the 3 and do 200 divide 2 200 times 2. So it would be 400/5 at the end.
Yes.
Then divide both, and then we can cancel out it by dividing the numerator by 5.
Yeah. So that which is
Which 400 divided by 5 is, I think it's 80.
80. Yeah. So the answer is 80%. Very good. Okay. Yeah, so here, Jerry, you don't have to multiply 600 first. You just try to simplify. We see 3 and 6. So cancel out, you get a 2. So basically you have 2 times 100 times 2, that's 400, and then 5. Here you can actually just cancel out directly. You see 105. So you can cancel out to be 20. So in the end, you just have 2 times 2 times 20, so 80, right?
Okay.
Yeah, you can cancel out everything in a single step. Okay, very good. And the last one is for Albert. Yeah. Yeah, for this question, you guys have a lot of mistakes, but I think it's just because of the wording. So Albert, you have trouble with this kind of wording. The two questions you've got wrong is the same kind of wording. You see, is what? So what equation would you get here?
X% times -35 equals 7.
Very good. Okay. For here you have to include brackets, just by the way. Okay. Times and the negative, you have to include brackets. Good.
And then it's -35 over 100 x.
Yeah, so negative 35x over 100.
And then we multiply by 100.
Mhm.
So x is, and then divided by -35.
That gives you -700.
-20.
Yeah, -20. You just 70 divided by 35, right? So 2. 2 and a 0, 20. Good. -20. The answer is -20%. Okay, just some understand comprehension of the wording. Next. Yeah, you see, this kind of wording is not confusing, right? This is absolutely 3 becomes equal, right? 3 equals negative 40% of a number. Okay. So C, we have Emma. Again, you suppose X and then try to come up with an equation. Okay, Emma. It means 知道啥意思吧？3是负的40%的哪一个数，对不对 ？Okay, so 你要把这块地方看成一个整体，negative 40% of a number, then you have to multiply it, right? So again, for this one number was supposed to be X. Emma, any equation?
X X times 3
Times 3. OK， 不行啊，按这个，你看啊，它相当我们之前是不是学什么 percent of a number 叫咱们乘起来啊？它这里说的是3是啥呢？3是负40% of 哪一个数？那负40% 的 of 哪一个数呢？你就要把它们乘起来，对不对？是不是应该是负的40% 乘以 x， 然后等于3啊 ？OK 吧？这个 wording 明白吧？啊 ，OK。所以呢，你看这么改，3不动 ，is 呢就变等号，对吧 ？is 是等号，这个 of 呢就是一个乘法 ，one number 就是 x， 负40就是负40%。还有没有疑问？就这么列式，好吧？所以呢，我们就写成3等于负的40% x，OK？、你试一下 how do you solve for x？
negative 40% times x over 100.
Negative 40x over 100. A fraction, denominator, what is it? 你看，你一旦看到个分数，有个分母，你干啥？就把分母块减掉，怎么化简？就把它乘过去嘛，对吧 ，Emma， 对吧？就乘100啊 ，OK？ So time by 100, so 300 equals negative 40x。然后呢
So that's 300 divided by 40.
Yeah, 300 divided by negative 40. Cancel out 0. That's it, right? Cancel out the 2. 15, 2. Yeah. So negative 15 over 2. Okay. So the answer would be negative 15 over 2 percent. Or you can, as we said before, you can change it into a mixed number if you want. So this is one possible answer. You can change it to a mixed number, negative 7.5%. And since it's over 2, it's a terminating decimal, right? You can also change it into a decimal, which is just negative 7.5, and that means move the decimal point to the right twice, becomes negative 750%. Okay, or we know that for mixed number, you can do this as well, right? 7, the integer 7 becomes 700. 1/2 is just 50%. Okay. Okay, good. Emma, 怎么样？可以吧？没问题啊。Okay, next. Jerry, question D. So again, we suppose this to be x. What do you think the equation is?
0.5% is just 5 over 1,000.
Yeah, good. Yes. Half percent, you can do half. Is a 1 over what? 1,000?
Is it 5 over 1,000?
5 over 1,000. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Which we can just simplify to 1 over 200.
Okay, so how, like, could you tell me how do you get 5 over 1,000 here?
Half is just equal to 0.5.
Oh, okay. You got
And
it. Okay,
0.5 over 100. So this is 5 over 1,000. So and then I simplified it down to 1 over 500. I mean 200.
okay, yeah. Okay, just as a side note. So Jerry did this 1/2. He converted into 0.5%, and basically he thinks it's just 5 over 1,000, right? For 1,000, for like something over 1,000, we also have a symbol. It looks like this. It looks like the percentage mark, but with two circles or 2 zeros here. This means 5 1,000ths. Okay, means
Oh.
5,000. Have you guys ever seen this symbol before?
No.
No? Okay, yeah. This is another symbol. This is for like 1/10 of a percentage. Yeah, I don't know how to type it in Google, so but anyway, sometimes you might see it. 中文呢就把这个叫做千分号，这个英文不叫这个叫百分号吗？这是百分之百分之，这个就是千分号，千分之千分之。Okay, this means over 1,000. Okay, but for this, because so Jerry, the reason why I ask you is that to me 1 over 2% is just 1 over 200 directly. The reason why I get that is simply 1 over,
Yeah, because a percent is just over 100.
yeah. Okay, yeah, so just 1 over 200. So this way it's easier, okay? Because not every fraction can be converted to a decimal, right? What if it's 1/7? So 1/7 a percent, it just becomes 1 over 700. Yeah. Okay, good. So what is the equation here? It's 1/2% of a number. So you're gonna multiply them, right? So 1/2% is just 1 over 200 times the x, and then that equals to 1/7. Okay, make sense, Jerry? Yeah, and that's it. So time by 200, right? So x is 200 over 7. Done. Okay. Sorry, for C, x is actually just a number. So the answer doesn't have a percentage here. Yeah. I got in a rut. Yeah, so I'm gonna wipe this out. We suppose x is just a number here. So this is actually just the answer. Okay. And this is actually just the answer. You don't need to include a percentage. All right, so that's all the calculation problems, and then we have 8.1.7. This, and this is for Jerry as well. So Jerry, I think here maybe you just haven't understood the problem. Okay, so it asks, what is the sum? Sum means addition, right? What is sum of what? Of this and this. Okay, so you consider it as consider it 2 parts like this, and a percent of a number, you multiply them and you add them up, right? So basically we just do 60% times 75 plus 75% times 60. Okay, Jerry, make sense? For these two, what do you think? Do they have the same result? Do they have the same product or not? Before you calculate it, okay? Do you think they have the same product or no?
No.
No? Why? Okay, what if we change the percentage into over 100 and have a look? So the first number becomes 60 over 100 times 75, right? You know, in other words, it's just 60 times 75 over 100, right? For the second one, it's the same, you see? It's 75 over, yeah. Okay, so they actually have the same product. Okay, Albert, Emma, that makes sense? Yeah, it's just a product of the two same numbers. So that means you just need to find one product and just times by 2. So here you cancel out, right? 0, 0, and then 6 becomes 3, this becomes 5, 5 and 75, this becomes 15. The first number is 45. And that means the second number is 45 as well. Just to save time, okay? And which is 9. That will give you 90. Okay, Jerry, any question for this? Good. Next question is for Emma. Express in the simplest form. Emma, 你看这个题是不是因为它有2个 of， 你就不知道该怎么办了？
还好，只是单纯算的有点懵。
好吧，它英文这个 of 就是乘，没问题吧？这3个都乘起来就可以了。OK， 什么 of 什么永远是乘法。OK， 那么我们来试一下怎么乘啊？就 40%， 因为今天刚第一次其实带着大家做习题啊，我们就来试一下，你觉得应该怎么做？每一个 percent 就换什么？
fraction
得换 over 100， 对吧？有40 over 100, 70 over 100 times 10。你试一下这怎么化简
？Simple it
谁跟谁能化简？这个0都能是不是都能化简啊？
Yeah. That's 20 over 8.
20 over 8.
No, 8 over 20.
8 over, oh yeah. Okay. 你不用做8 over 20, okay, I see. 8 over 20 is divided by 5, right? 但是你不用啊，你直接把零化掉。
10.
对 ，divided by 10嘛，对吧？所以先画0，你看先画几个0？对，一个0画了，对吧？又一个0，你直接先跟第一个0画吧，先把一个搞定，没问题吧？后面不是还有个10吗？10有个0，再画一个0，没问题吧？都是除以10啊，这样是不是知道上面是4乘7，底下这个10啊？那就28除10 2.8，对吧？或者说你要用 fraction 的话呢，就再除一个2，这里再一个5，所以最后变成了14 over 5，回来吧？这个画0啊是最简单的，一定要这个要明白，因为就除以10或者除以100 ，OK？ 所以就把上面的所有0跟底下所有0，只要底下有结尾是0的，不管有几个，就4个就全部都划掉就可以了，没问题吧 ，Emma？ OK？ Yeah. All right, one last question. So so this one is for both Emma and Jerry, okay? But Emma just did one, so Jerry, let's do one last problem before we go. 2% of half of a number is 5. What is the number? Again, we suppose x and try to come up with an equation, okay? Number is x. How do we translate this into an equation? Something of something is still multiplication, right?
2% of half a number is 4% of the actual number.
4%? Okay, so 2% of half a number. How do you change half into a number?
By timing it times it by 2, so it'd be 4% of the whole number, I think.
Okay, half means 1/2, right? Means 1/2 instead of times 2, correct? You see, say half of 4, that's 2. Half of 100 is 50. Half means you time by 1/2, 1/2. Right? Okay. So here so this half translates to 1/2, not times by 2. Make sense? Yeah, and a number is x. So 2% of half a number is actually just 1% of a number. Because half means 1/2, and 2%, 1/2 is 1%. Okay? Yeah, so it just becomes 1% x is 5. So x is obviously times by 100, right? 500. Okay? The answer is just 500. So Emma, 这个 make sense 吗？我看这个你没做对啊。这个就是 2% 是 2%， of 呢还是乘法 ，half 呢就是 1/2， 这个我们都知道嘛 ，half a number 就是除以2嘛，就是乘以1/2，对吧 ？OK。Yeah, so Jerry, yeah, half a number, you always time by 1/2, not time by 2. Time by 2 is twice a number, right? Twice a number times by 2, 3 times a number, it's just 3 times my number. And yeah, half a number times 1/2. Okay, so that'll be all for today. We finished, yeah, so basically over the next few classes, we're gonna just wrap up these homework and yeah, okay. See you guys next week. Thank you.